Per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. It is Wednesday. That means we're taking a look at some altcoins. Happy Bitcoin all-time high day for those of you who celebrate. If you're watching this video, maybe you don't own any Bitcoin. Maybe you want to rethink that the next 4-year cycle. But for now, Bitcoin continues to lead the way as seen by dominance, 64% and growing, recovering from a low time frame drop there. What else is there to say? We just continue to move higher. This really shouldn't be a surprise if and when it rolls over, because it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. It'll probably put in some sort of topping signal. It probably won't just be a crash here on the 3-day or something, and it still looks fine. There's no issues here. We're not painting some bearish pattern or anything like that. And if we look at alt BTC, total 2 divided by BTC, stripping out stables, still looks rather bearish. And you can say, well, there's a TKC clamp here that says we're oversold. That's fair, but we're certainly not on the bullish side of where we need to be for alts. And one other way to think about it is total 2 is still down 25% from the highs at least, and BTC just put in an all-time high today. So alts have a lot of catching up to do, which may happen eventually, down the line. If and when that happens, it's usually the end of the cycle. It can happen throughout the cycle. That's not what we've seen. We've seen alts do well some of the time. They just haven't kept up with BTC. We did see some stablecoin mints today. I think it was plus 2 billion, minus 1.5 billion. It might have been like a chain transfer. There is a Tether premium on Kraken. So long as that persists, you would expect stable prints to close that ARB. It just says there's a lot of demand for Tether, just generally. Looking at total 2 on the chart here, most alts look like this, where they've completed their edge-to-edge moves. The easy trade on the mean reversion is over. And the next thing to watch for is vanilla cloud stuff, bullish TK cross, price above cloud. That's it. That's really all these charts are showing you. And if they're lagging even this chart, then they're somewhere in the middle of the cloud, or they haven't started yet. And those are probably charts to avoid in the near term. I wouldn't assume that the ultra laggards are going to catch up. It's probably better to watch for bullish breakouts here. I would put miners in that category, in that they are laggards that haven't moved yet, that are maybe something to think about. If you look at total 2 versus coin in the white and WGMI in the green, WGMI has followed total 2 and coin. It's basically an alt. It's another high beta to BTC product. Regardless of mining versus alts, that's just how it trades. It trades like an alt, and it hasn't caught up yet. So that is one thing to think about for the TradFi bros out there. And it's kind of trading like IWM. This is leveraged IWM TNA. I'm just bringing these up as like ideas, right? What else is there to do here? If you're not in BTC, if you're looking for an alt-like return and you have a reasonable setup, you don't have a lot to work from, but TNA and WGMI also very similar in where they sit. Potential chart patterns here, decent upside. Now these may take some time to play out. Now this could take 2 weeks, right? But all the same principles apply here as they do with WGMI. It looks like it wants to move higher through the cloud. So this is the first trade to catch, which happened 3-4 weeks ago for most alts now, and for BTC. The next trade to catch would be vanilla cloud stuff, bullish Kumo breakout, bullish TK cross, that sort of thing. So there are some alts that still are very, very, very far behind. Looking at NFTs here, also another late signal. If alts moving is end of cycle, NFTs moving is the end of the cycle usually. They're starting to move up a little bit in line with ETH price, but I don't think they're seeing any crazy outperformance relative to ETH in general. This is CryptoPunks, Penguins also still nowhere near valuations we saw even at the end of 2024. So even though this feels late cycle, at least to me, because of all the Bitcoin treasury companies and the Solana treasury companies and the ETH treasury companies, the market isn't really acting like it yet. And it's possible that all these MSTR analogs are pulling money out of alts too, because people are trading SEP, they're trading Metaplanet, they're trading whatever the other one is called. I can't even remember. There's like 8 more of them, but those are moving quickly. They have a ton of volatility, and that's not what alts are doing right now generally. Watch market also down here, not signaling there's a lot of froth on the retail side of things where there's a lot of just free money floating around like there was post-COVID. So all this stuff is still in line. One of these days we're going to say, oh, look at this. Watch charts are curling up. Pengs are curling up, whatever, right? We're just not there yet on the cycle, in my opinion. Now we might not see that stuff, but I think we will. I think there's a good chance of that. For alts, got to start with BTC, sorry. First, we hit an all-time high with the bear div today. And the issue is, let me add RSI to this. The issue is, can we cancel this bear div? So I don't like fresh margin positions up here, like James Nguyen. God bless him, Godspeed, soldier. Good luck to him. But I don't like adding, 40 million a clip up here. That's just me. Maybe a little over conservative, but we still have the TKC clamp situation. We still have the bear div, which hasn't been canceled yet. This can be canceled if RSI actually goes higher. That would be like above 74, 78, something like that. And we can just cruise at overbought. That's what people don't understand when they look at RSI or any oscillator. They say, oh, we're overbought, I have to sell. No, this is what you want. You want to see oversold or overbought conditions because that typically, at least for crypto, for BTC, leads to bullish continuation. So on the daily, we've got that. We're obviously just screaming from the low there. And that doesn't mean it's a short or it's a get to cash. It just, for me, it means be careful. That's it. If we look at the weekly RSI also hasn't even started yet. And now some people have commented and they say, well, we've had a bear div ever since 2023. And I guess that's technically true. We've had a bear div from this high to this high. But the div people are going to come after me and say, well, after so many periods, the div resets anyway. I'm not going to disagree. I think the general consensus is if RSI spills back to the midpoint at 50, then that has reset the div. That would be my read here on the weekly. But the daily is still very much in it, in that it's still trying to determine, is this a div or not? Like I said last week, from a trading perspective, it would make a lot of sense to me if we did a little dipsy whipsy here and then we went on our merry way. We margin called James Nguyen at 103 and change, and then we went to infinity. That would make a lot more sense to me because generally there's no free rides for anybody. Monero as well has hit close to all-time highs. It's certainly the best performing alt over the past probably couple weeks. It's right there, 388, 500. It's pretty close relative to a lot of alts that are far away, 15, 20, 25% away from their all-time highs. I just don't think Monero's tradable. It gives you signals that are tradable. I just think if you're going to fool around with Monero, you're probably just going to hold it, and that's it. I don't really think there's much really to trade on Monero, but it looks good and it's going up. ETH, on the other hand, still, this is total too, right? This is just sitting at the cloud. This is why when people ask me, what's the next trade, or what do I do after this, or what do you mean we just take profit here? You can do whatever you want, but I'm just telling you, this is what typically you see when you get these edge-to-edge moves. You stop at the cloud, and that's it for a little while. You reconsolidate and figure it out. So we'd either need a retrace or some time for ETH to get higher. It still looks like to me that this is trying to head and shoulders down. Now, it would make zero sense why this would go down while BTC is going up. That's for any alt. But this is in a vacuum. This doesn't look like bullish continuation to me. Maybe you could argue an even lower time frame inverted head and shoulders here. It's Chop City, I'll give you that, but it's not screaming bullish continuation to me. Ripple the same, just stuck in the mud here. Until this is above 250, I wouldn't expect too much out of it. But this is going to be one of those where once the breakout starts, it's just going to go to like $3-4 or something stupid. I just don't like it here. I like it as a breakout trade between 250 and 260, and that's it. There's nothing really else to say. Sol has underperformed ETH, which has underperformed BTC, and it's also just kind of stuck in the mud. I'm still holding ETH personally. I still like 195, 200 as a target. Into Q3, we will know how bullish this is. Not that I'm expecting Q3 to be bullish, but I'd expect by Q3, we will be above or below the cloud at that point, and we will know. But as it stands here, you're just waiting for something to happen. Curve was another one a lot of people ask me about. This one hasn't closed above the cloud yet for me to care about it. Again, back to this idea of like basic vanilla cloud stuff. That's what I'd want to see. I'd want to see bullish TK cross, price above cloud, bullish cloud. So we're almost there. It's just, this literally was the trade. I got out here and now it's just chopping around. So I don't really care about it until the signals are bullish again. SWE is probably closer to that of everything. This was followed BTC the most, and it does have signals still that are bullish. It's just this TKC clamp stuff. It's very far from the mean. So time sideways would be great. It still looks bullish, undeniably more bullish than most alts still. And the cloud looks fully bullish here. So if I had to pick something to trade today or to add to or to open, I like this better the longer this can just hold above the cloud. Tau in a similar position, above the cloud, fully bullish, far away from the mean, right? So it's kind of like pick your poison. What do you want to do here? That's up to you, obviously, but I would prefer to trade stuff like this to the long side that's already broken through resistance than to fool around with something like LTC that's sort of in and out, or Solana that's in the middle, Ripple that's in the middle, ETH not quite out yet, Link is also in the middle, right? Like, sure, you can take these trades. They're not bad. These should catch up eventually. Your upside's fairly limited, probably in the near term. But none of this stuff is really screaming like, oh, this looks so amazing. This is a great looking setup. AVAX just kind of whatever in the middle there. Aave's completed its edge to edge, probably needs a little cooldown period. Ondo, similar to AVAX, just sitting at the neckline down there. CAS probably also in the list, along with SWE and Tau being above the cloud. I think STX you could probably put, no, not quite. It hasn't even made it through. So that's kind of the three positions that alts are in right now. Either above the cloud, which is a few of them, they've hit their edge-to-edge targets, which is more of them, or even more of them have just done nothing really. I mean, they're just sort of flat sideways. And then there's stuff like TIA, which would be the fourth category. I would not touch this. I would not long this. I wouldn't do anything on this until it's fully bullish. I wouldn't take this edge to edge. I would ignore this as long as humanly possible, especially when it sets up for months, breaks out, gives it all back. That is not something you want to sit in, and look at the drawdown from all-time high. So probably Q4. This is end of cycle trading. Okay, Q4 when this is at 390, then you can send me an alert. Let's just set an alert right there. Boom. Now I can forget about it forever. If it doesn't hit that level, I don't care. But what is there to do here? It's infinite chop, and it's generally been down. Just not fun. Some of the AI stuff, FET that's in the middle of the cloud, near the bottom of the cloud. Kaito, I don't really know enough about that one to really comment, but sure. You know, it's tough because the old guard gets replaced with the new guard, and then the new guard becomes the old guard, and then you live long enough to become Fartcoin. It still looks fine. I'm concerned a couple weeks ago that this was a rising wedge and it was going to break down. It tried to, and now it's a W, right? It's right up here, right? People are trading this instead of AVAX and Link and anything else that just hasn't moved. People just don't care. Algo was another one I like just because it's sort of the bottom of the cloud, kind of at the neckline. You know, it looks similar to a lot of these. Just not really much to say. Not really much to say. Rune trying to break out more. I feel very ho-hum about most of this market. HNT still needs time. So I think broadly, we just need time on most of this stuff. ENA I got to talk about because everyone's been asking me about this more. I still like it. It's fine. You know, if you had to pick of the laggards, if you had to pick 2 or 3, this one is on my list that I like. Plenty of upside here. Tends to do better when ETH does better as ETH beta, and it tends to do better when funding is high and funding is low. So until funding gets high and this goes nowhere, then I can say the fundamental setup has failed. The technical setup is still there, and it just takes time. For memes, Doge in the middle, not really much to say there. Upside still 28 cents. I don't even think most of these are worth leverage trading, and when they're sitting in the middle of the cloud. It's just not, it's an awkward place to be. It's not really, it's kind of momentumless, you know. Pepe trying to break out. You can thank James Wynn probably for that one as well. I don't know. I think this is just to leave alone for at least another couple weeks. Trump I was looking at on the 4-hour. In a vacuum, this is probably some sort of triangle or double bottom or something. So You could breakout trade this at 15. I just really don't think it's worth it. There's thousands of coins to trade. This one has all sorts of shenanigans, right? But if you were forcing me to take a trade, I would be waiting for 15, and I like it on the breakout. Whiff up a bunch today, not really sure why. Let's go back to daily there. Still pretty close to its expected move, right? So for me, is there anything here? Not really. You know, it's just how I trade. It's what I like. I don't really see anything to me because the upside feels fairly limited in the near term. Not that it can't keep going. It's just the expected move is right there. You're knocking on the door. Popcat, same thing. That needs time. Bonk. Hit the level, and that should have been it. That should have been the trade. And now you just wait. At least that's what I would do. That's what I'm doing, generally, before I touch anything else here. And most likely, all these are going to have a bullish breakout like the same week. So it's not going to be like, oh, I'm going to have to find the one chart that looks good. They're all going to look the same, probably, if they start to break out. Sol BTC has really been a stinker, curling way down there. You do not want this making a lower low. I don't want this making a lower low for any of the Sol I hold. Just straight down, right? Cloud positioning wise, still has a decent upside. So if you believe, Solana still looks good from a setup perspective. ETH BTC just chopping around in the cloud. There's probably a head and shoulders mess here. Again, does this look like bullish continuation to you? Not, it doesn't to me. So that needs time. I'd probably give this until Q4 to really care about it. Let it make a definitive bottom, whether that's a gigantic W or something else, into Q4. And as a trade, that's where I like it a lot more. XRP BTC continues to just curl lower below the cloud. Not what you want to see on a chart. LTC, BTC just sort of dangling there, not doing much of anything. Tron below the cloud as well. PAXG I skipped over, but this is one, this will probably play out, and that will be because it's end of cycle, right? Like PAXG, maybe this isn't an inverted head and shoulders, but maybe it's a like expanding, broadening wedge, whatever, right? This is possible, but this would only break end of cycle. So I wouldn't expect gold to outperform crypto just in general until it's actually over for the cycle. Cardano BTC also just straight down. Maybe you could trade this with some sort of IHS setup or something, but is it a now setup? No, it's not a today setup. XMR BTC, W there. It looks good. The issue is, this is the issue, right? The issue is it's just been mainly down forever since 2017. That's the issue. Maker's another one I still like. Ultra high time frame idea that will not play out in the next couple weeks. It probably takes months for this thing to actually curl up. You don't want to see this making lower lows beyond, I don't know, 0.14. But on the next neckline attempt, I'd imagine it tries to go higher. So broadly, is there much to do that I see anyway across the board? No. I mean, I'm worried about BTC up here at all-time highs, that it's going to potentially crumble and stutter a little bit. Alt's not following at all. They're still down 15 to 25% from their all-time highs. So money hasn't quite rotated into alts maybe as you'd expect with BTC all-time highs here. That's all I got for this one. Give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.